So we're looking at The Spinners, or Las Hilanderas, which is a late work by Diego Velazquez, and it's currently in the Prado, and it's a large oil painting depicting a scene of classical Greek myth of Arachne and Athena.
Actually painted for
Something like
King Philip the Fourth.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was painted for the hunter of, I believe, King Philip the Fourth. So not a king, a private patron.
So in this piece, we can see the common Baroque upside-down triangle that kind of gives it an instability, but at the same time, it still feels pretty stable.
Mm-hmm. Painting depicts the story of Arachne and Athena competing for title of the best spinster. Athena heard that Arachne was claiming that she was the best spinster, whereas Athena was actually the goddess of weaving and crafting. And so Athena confronted her and challenged her to a competition, as I said, and Arachne actually won with her piece depicting the pride of the gods versus Athena's piece depicting the pride of humans.
Athena depicted the hubris in her tapestry, and she pretty much could have depicted Arachne in her tapestry, because that's essentially what happened, is she gets punished for challenging the gods and, well, a goddess, and thinking she's better than her, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Even though she technically was.
She was.
Even though yeah, definitely.
Which is why she is actually the one facing away in the painting, because Velazquez wanted to portray her as not her beauty winning the competition, but her just skill alone helping her win the competition. Whereas Minerva, or Athena, is facing the front and is in front of the spinning wheel.
Point when you say Minerva or Athena, so our records of this myth is mostly from Ovid, who is a Roman poet, although he's pretty much just elaborating on the Greek myth of Arachne.
Peter Paul Rubens.
Which is a
Great
copy
of-
of a Titian.
Yeah, which is a
But
copy of. Yeah.
I think the Rubens one was in the royal collection,
Mhm.
and so I mean it makes sense at least for him to have seen it, because I don't know where the Titian was at that point.
He was his teacher, and so he would have seen this tapestry before, and he just put it in the back, and instead of having the cow in Europa, it is.
He kind of adapts it
You
to
put-
be the scene of Arachne and Athena.
Yeah, right before she's about to be smitten.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of the tapestry, I think the tapestry indicates a really good kind of beginning and end of the story, because in the front we have the actual competition that's going on between Arachne and Athena, and in the background we kind of have the ending of that competition, right before Arachne gets turned to a spider.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's interesting too, I didn't think about it, because the tapestry itself is pretty much something that Zeus did, you know, raping Europa. And that's kind of what the topic was for Arachne, pointing that stuff out. But Athena is supposed to have torn it. But
But here we see it preserved in the back.
Yeah.
I think she's about to. It looks like she's holding a knife and is about to slash it.
Because, something that I read in the research is that it's kind of hard to tell whether or not Arachne and Athena are in the painting or in the tapestry, because of kind of how far away it is and also the foreshortening. So that's a really interesting aspect as well.
Which also brings me to another fabric is a huge piece of this piece, and it brings me to the red cloth in the front, which is like meant to symbolize the theatrics, like they're opening the scene, and in the foreground is the beginning of the story, and in the back is the end, as we talked about, and just how the Baroque is very theatrical. We've seen in, was it Bernini's Ecstasy of St.
Yes.
Teresa,
Oh, yes.
all of the big, bright, flashy, so that's
Lots of
also...
differentiation in light and stuff, so yeah, definitely.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a really good distinction between like the classical and the time of the Baroque, because in the front Athena and Arachne just look like normal people, and in the background they look very, very Greek, very classically Greek.
It's a good combination. It reminds me sort of, it has the light in the back that kind of reminds me of Conversion a little bit, which is so weird because it's not a Christian piece.
Interesting. I don't know if that's supposed to mean
It might be
anything,
that she's
but
just in shadow, but not even Nike looks like that, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe it was like a restoration gone wrong.
lots of
or something.
bronzer.
Oh, wasn't it in a fire? And they had to repair it?
And only Athena
remember.
got burned.
Only Athena got burned.
Wow,
That's
how-
karma.
how
On
the-
her
how the
face.
turntables.
Well, well, well. How the turntables